Tune in your radio and dim the lights. This is the Void Frequency.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, your guide from the dark side, Dawson Richard. And allow me to warmly welcome you to the official start of Season 2 of The Void Frequency. We got the new theme, we got the new intro, we got all that good shit. So, just for starters, it has been a super fucking long time since last we talked. I had a lot of stuff come up, and I know that the past 3 episodes have been me being like, oh, sorry, I got really busy, oh my god. But, like, legitimately, I did have some work stuff come up. I was basically out of commission all through January and the first couple weeks of February. I was just like, it doesn't fucking matter because it was in between seasons, and so you just had to wait. It's like waiting for the next season of The Mandalorian or whatever shows you all fucking watch. So, I don't want to fucking hear it. But in all seriousness, I was away from the house for like a month, so I didn't have like any access to any of my software or my office or my mic, my beautiful mic. And even before the work stuff, I had some trouble with an episode I tried to put out. I had this plan to do a big holiday episode at the end of December and into January. It was going to be about Wendigos and shit. I was super excited. But then some of my files got corrupted during like the work process. I didn't save it, and before I knew it, I had like a bunch of work worth of writing just gone out. So I kept the script for it, so it might be something that I do later, but I was just so discouraged that I just didn't really feel like making the episode at that point. So I'll probably record it and just take out the holiday stuff and release it as like a regular episode, you know? So that's where I've been, but I assure you that I am back and super ready to start with Season 2. I've got a couple of good printing companies that I'm looking at so that I can start making some Void Frequency t-shirts and hoodies and shit and whatever the fuck you all want, just forever, whoever is interested. But I've got a lot of cool topics for Season 2 as well, but most of all, I have one last big surprise for you all here. Allow me to introduce my brand new co-host here on the Void Frequency, Trey Nicoloulis.
What's going on, guys? I've known Richard for just over 2 years now and a longtime supporter of the show. And it's great to finally be a part of it.
Yeah, just chilling out on the show. Good stuff. So that's Trey. We've been friends for a while and just decided to bring him on the podcast because I feel like...
I'm the coolest.
Right. I just feel like we have good banter. So we're going to... just go from there. So today we are going to be talking about... Actually, hold up. What the fuck am I doing? Introductions out of the way. I've got to play the little intro thing. It's been too long. I'm not used to this. So yeah, let's get right into the episode.
The Void Frequency has content that some viewers may find graphic, disturbing, or unsettling. Listener discretion is advised. You have been warned.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
I don't have a whole lot of time.
You can't spend a lot of time on the phone, so give us something quick.
Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are they are not what they claim to be.
So yeah, today's topic is going to be on Art Bell, the host of Coast to Coast AM radio talk show. Don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I've listened to Coast to Coast.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Coast to Coast? Yeah, that's what he's off of.
Middle of the night.
Yes, that's what he's off of in Nevada or wherever the fuck it is. Actually, but more specifically, we're going to cover, like I told you before, we're going to talk about he had a mysterious caller come in, and we're going to talk about that. So, but before that, we're going to go into a little bit of info on Art Bell, just because I thought some of this shit was kind of interesting. So, Art Bell was actually born in North Carolina on June 17th, 1945. He was interested in radio since the age of 13. He became a licensed amateur radio operator, and he was a military brat, and I think he said something about like moving to 35 different schools. So it's not really a big surprise that he ended up as a medic during Vietnam in the Air Force itself. So represent. And in his free time, he operated a pirate radio station, which is basically like It's like operating a radio station without a license. It's like a freelance type thing. He was at Amarillo Air Force Base, and he made a point of playing anti-war music, such as Fortunate Son.
Is that even like an Air Force base anymore?
Amarillo? I don't know, actually. Fuck, I've never heard of
like
it.
Back in the days. Huh?
Probably. It's probably one of like the Vietnam ones. But anyway, after leaving military service, he actually went to Asia, where he lived on the Japanese island of Okinawa. He worked as a disc jockey for KSBK, which was the only non-military English language station in Japan. And while there, he actually set a Guinness World Record, by staying on the air for 116 hours and 15 minutes.
Maybe on like fucking meth or something.
Just shooting up fucking heroin between shots. But the money raised there allowed Bell to charter a Douglas DC-8, fly to Vietnam, and rescue 130 Vietnamese orphans stranded in Saigon. And they were brought to America and adopted by American families. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting. Let's see, what next? Bell returned to the United States and studied engineering at the University of Maryland. He dropped out and returned to radio as a board operator and chief engineer and had the opportunity to be on the air a few times. After a period of working in cable television, he went to Las Vegas, Nevada, obviously is where he ended up. They offered Bell a 5-hour time slot, and this is when he would create West Coast AM, which became Coast to Coast. This is also the time that he married his wife, Ramona, who is Filipino, which comes in play later. It makes sense. Art Bell actually had a lot of controversy surrounding him, though. One of the big things is that he didn't screen any of his calls. So, like, any fucking whack job.
There's, like, live.
Yeah.
On air.
Yes. Anybody could come on the show at any time. And so with that, like... You know, you got, like, people that, like, are coming on and have, like, really insightful opinions. And then you've got people that are coming on there and are spouting a bunch of whack job bullshit opinions. And with that, one of the big things is that, like any Joe Schmo with the lines number could call. And so the thing is that got him in some hot water with skeptics because a lot of times he didn't, like, openly disagree with what they were saying. He was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, whatever goes.
Just, like, spread your word or whatever. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Let it be known.
Exactly, yeah. So, like, it's not that, like, people just got pissy because he wouldn't openly condemn what was happening. He would literally... It's like they were wanting him to, like, fucking be like, well, this is bullshit. You can't say that, blah, 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 blah. But he was, like, really... whatever. He was really open-minded is a good word for it. But at the time, West Coast AM was actually really politically based, so a lot of the people that came on were talking about, like, gun control and a bunch of political shit, and he got a pretty big following from that. But later in 1988, Bell and Allen, which is, like, his co-host, they ended up renaming the show Coast to Coast, and then that's when they moved the broadcast from the Plaza Hotel to Pahrump, I think is what it's called, Pahrump, Nevada. And they also changed the show's topics to... focusing on more like paranormal, conspiracy theory, extraterrestrial type stuff. And he was kind of slowly doing away with all the political stuff. So, like... Yeah,
like, when I was listening to it, it was, like, girls calling in and, like, whole stories. Like, the whole show was just about, like, this girl being abducted.
Like,
being an alien.
Right, exactly. And he kind of, like...
I'm just sitting at work like, what the fuck? What is this shit?
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But... So, let's see. Where am I at? Hot water, yeah, skeptics and shit. So, yeah, he just kind of had this approach coming at it that was sort of like why not? Like, just whatever. And another big backlash that he got was because of the Hale-Bopp comet, which veteran viewers of the show will know, is the whole thing with Heaven's Gate and the cult. So, the entire reason that Heaven's Gate was doing their fucking cult shit. So, it turns out that Art Bell actually... was linked to Heaven's Gate in a way, sort of.
The guys with, like, the Nike shoes and stuff.
Yeah, the guys in, like, the purple jumpsuits and shit. Yeah. But, like, he was linked to it because there was, like, all this talk of, like, a fucking spacecraft that was following the comet and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And so that was happening, and then all of a sudden, obviously he would talk about it on his show, and he was all like, oh, yeah, could be, maybe there's a, aircraft following the comet. And then, like, the cult came out and was like, there's an aircraft behind the comet. Yeah. And then, they did their cult shit and they fucking...
what he said.
Exactly. Like, they all fucking killed themselves. And then, when police did some investigating, they got onto their website and, like, Heaven's Gate themselves actually, like, put a link on their website back to Art Bell So now it looks really fucking shitty because it looks like he was like, not like convincing them, but he was like playing into their fantasy basically. Yeah. So yeah, he had like this whole like, oh, maybe the spaceship's following the comet. So it kind of fucked him up, kind of, sort of. Let's see. Where am I at? Yeah, so the cult's wild ideas and shit was made sort of worse because in an interview later on, he actually said, like, he's like, well, I didn't quite say that. Well, I didn't quite mean that. And that kind of got him in some hot water. Kind of fucked him over. So there was that. But, like, I mean, me personally, I feel like they were going to do it regardless. Like, if they were going to kill themselves.
Those people were fucking dedicated.
Right, exactly. Like, I mean, like, whether or not he was, like, confirming if they actually, like... Yeah. I feel like they were just gonna fucking do it anyway.
They had uniforms.
They were there. They were organized. Okay, they had the shoes. They had the get up. They had all of it. But regardless, like, of what Art actually said, like on their website itself, I actually found like a quote on their website that's like, it says like whether Hale-Bopp was a companion or not is irrelevant from our perspective. So, like, really, I mean, like we said, they were gonna fucking kill themselves anyway. But anywho. One of the other big things with Art Bell is that he was often attacked by skeptics and critics for being so passive and dismissing pseudoscience, which, you know what pseudoscience is. So pseudoscience is like it's like the type of shit that like Gwyneth Paltrow does. It's where she like, okay. It's like, so it's like the type of shit where she's like she sells shit that's like, fuck, let me think of an example. I've looked at her website just because it's fun to like see some of the shit. Like one of them is like psychic vampire spray. You know what the fuck? Like people like believe that like they can like people can like drain your essence and they're called like life vampires or something like that. Like energy vampires, that's what they're called. And so she sells like a spray that's supposed to like keep energy vampires from taking your essence.
What the fuck?
And one bottle. Hold up. We're gonna look it up. Her thing is called Goop, if you didn't know. The Goop store. For Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't know how that translates. Let's see. Wellness. That's what we're going to look for.
Knock me out.
Here we are. Nerd Alert. A bite-sized mental booster for $55. Let's see. The Power Ring is a versatile 10-pound weight covered in soft, non-slip silicone for $85.
It's just a fucking circle?
It's just a circle. It's just a little iron circle. This is a vibrator for $135. Let's see. What do we got here? I'm really trying to find that vampire spray because that's the one that like really stood out to me. Why am I so effing tired? It's like a sleep pill for $90. And so like basically, before I go on, I really got to find this fucking oil or this spray. Another vibrator for almost $200. Yeah, $495 for a vibrator. Oh, these are some good ones. It's just a crystal at the bottom of a water bottle for $80.
Drinking good vibes.
Yeah, because it's supposed to like purify it or some shit. Is that it? Oh no, it's in that same bottle. Oh my god. Fuck it. Anyway. But basically, to get us back on track here, because we went on a fucking goop spree. Pseudoscience is basically like, cause like, that shit, it's like, oh, there's a crystal in the bottom of the water bottle. It's supposed to purify the water.
Yeah.
You can't prove it. Like, you can't prove that shit's actually real. So...
just like selling shit, basically.
Yeah, it's like most of the pseudoscience people are either fucking batshit stupid or they're trying to profit off of some shit. So a bunch of people got pissed at Art, though, because like people would come on his show and spout a bunch of pseudoscience bullshit. And because it's Art, he'd be like, oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, if you believe it, sure, why not? And like that got him in a lot of...
like I listened to Coast to Coast one time and it was this girl talking about these stones, and if you have them in your pocket you can feel it vibrate, and like each stone has like basically like fucking infinity stones, but like each stone does something to you. Like it'll make you feel better, it'll make you smarter, like random shit like that. Like these came from aliens. He's like, oh wow, very cool, nice.
Right, exactly. And like that's the thing is like it's like on the show he's never openly saying that it's true. He's just... and he's not even really entertaining
getting their whole side of the story.
Exactly. So basically, a bunch of these critics just fucking go in on him. They're like attacking his whole fucking livelihood because of this shit. And there's actually a society of skeptics who present. They have like something called like the Snuffed Candle Award. And it's described as an award for encouraging credulity, presenting pseudoscience as genuine, and contributing to the public's lack of understanding of the methods of scientific inquiry. So it's literally just like it's like a fuck you award, basically. So it's given to people as like a big old fuck you. And they awarded it to Art Bell. And so they basically just shit on him. And when he gets this award, he replied with, "A mind should not be so open that the brain falls out. However, it should not be so closed that whatever gray matter which does reside may not be reached. So on behalf of those with the smallest remaining open aperture, I accept with honor." So basically just roasts him. He roasts the shit out of him and takes the award.
Yeah.
Love it. But Art Bell also had some other cool people that he interviewed. Willie Nelson. He interviewed Willie Nelson.
Oh, yeah.
He interviewed Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was on a show at one point.
Probably on, like, DMT.
Yeah.
While on this fucking show.
It's like, bro, you want to wrestle? Like,
I'll fucking roundhouse kick your ass, man.
yo, Art, love your show, man. You want to get roundhouse kicked? Jerry, play that. What's his name?
I don't fucking know.
His fucking...
He's always like, play that shit.
Play the clip with the monkey. Some famous actors. A former Luftwaffe pilot. That was kind of cool. And just a bunch of other cool shit. He also had a white supremacist come on the show and talk about his book. And his book's like, he's like, yep, Jewish people are going to bring about genocide, and there's going to be a nuke. And there's going to be a race war. Which is weird because Art Bell's literally like married to a Filipino woman. Mm-hmm. And he was like on the show and he like asked him, he was like, or the white supremacist guy was like, he's like, interracial marriages are disgusting and blah, 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 blah. And then like Art Bell was like, well, like I'm married to a Filipino. Like, what would you say to me? And he's like, I think you're a traitor to your race. And Art Bell's like, oh, okay, well, thank you for coming on the show and have a good day. And it's just like, so like, and that just goes to show that like literally anybody could come on the show.
Yeah.
Like he didn't screen any of his fucking calls. Like anybody could show up and just start saying shit. Which I think adds to it though, because it's not like he doesn't like agree with the white supremacists. It's just that he's like talking to them and shit. But anyway, Art did actually have a UFO experience. That was something that I found out that was kind of cool. It was on the way home to Pahrump, Nevada, from Vegas one summer night. Bell had, he was driving with his wife.
It was that spaceship behind the comet.
Yeah, exactly. Coming to fuck yeah. Oh my god, the fucking press would have a day with that. But like him and his wife were a mile from Vegas when his wife's like, oh, what the fuck is that? And like sees something up in the sky. So Art like cuts his engines and turns out the lights. And they both looked up and like there was something, he described it as like an enormous triangular craft that was hovering over the road. It was about 150 feet long with two bright lights at each point of the triangle. After a while, the craft floated directly over the Bells. And Bell said that it was completely silent, like dead silent, like didn't make any noise, much like an aircraft would. And it did not appear to have an engine. But after a few moments, the craft floated across the valley and out of sight. And Bell has officially confirmed that this is what he believes is a UFO experience. And he said that it doesn't really matter that much to me if anyone believes me. Thousands of people seeing the same thing can't all be wrong. So, there's that.
Well, there's also that other Bob Lazar guy on that Joe Rogan show.
Yeah, Bob Lazar. I know you know a little bit about him.
Seen a spaceship like turn invisible.
Right.
51 or S4 test site Area 51 or something like that.
Right. And I know there's like people, like some people actually believe that Area 51 is just like a front, and that it's not actually.
Yeah. Well, because all their like real shit supposedly is like in the mountains.
Yeah,
like
in the mountains,
bunkers.
Well, I've also heard some people say like Hangar 13 at Wright Pat Air Force Base.
Oh yeah.
Is supposedly like has a bunch of shit in it.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense for Area 51, like the base site, like the main one, the one that everybody was trying to fucking like raid and shit, and like Naruto run towards, like that one. I feel like that one is most likely fake.
Yeah.
And that it's all just like a bunch of people fucking standing around out there making it seem like everything's important.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like the media draws so much attention to it that I feel like it's like the government's way of like trying to be like, oh, look here.
They're like actually like letting the media take charge to make it seem like there is something there.
Right, exactly.
But they're just like laying low in the background, like
exactly.
Just let this thing like run out and see how it plays.
So, with all of that stuff out of the way, though, we're going to officially look at the Frantic collar, which is probably one of the more popular things with Art Bell. This is like the thing that really fucking put him. It didn't put him on the map. He had like 15 million fucking listeners on the West Coast. Or East Coast to Coast. Fuck me. Fucking time traveling here. But he had like a lot of people, but this is something that like I remember like I hadn't really heard of Coast to Coast before I saw this. So we're just gonna play this clip. We're gonna have a listen to it, and go from there, and we'll tell our thoughts after this. I have 2 videos, so we'll go for the first one. So this was the call that was made. Jesus Christ, that's abrupt. This is the call that was made to Art Bell's radio station. It was in like 1997.
Line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens, Art, they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharge.
I started getting...
Okay, and so at that point, right, that little area, like a little section right where the transmission went out, that wasn't just the call dropping, like the entire radio station went out. So like something had to have taken them off the air, which Art Bell himself said that like had never happened before.
Yeah.
Like in all the years of the show, like nobody had ever taken them off the air, had like completely shut down the radio station, and then after that call, the entire radio station went down.
I don't know, I definitely believe in aliens, and I believe that the government knows some shit about that, so who knows? The government or whatever agency, whatever,
right?
Like a 3-letter agency or something.
Right, CIA, like, FBI, whatever the fuck you want to call
anything.
it.
They could have totally cut power to that.
No, exactly.
All
And
they
like
have to say is one word, and they can do it. Like,
right, exactly. And like the guy like sounds, because like obviously like I did acting, and like it's hard because at certain points I want to say that it sounds like it could be faked. I want to say at certain points it sounds like it could be a guy acting. But like at the same time, there are moments where like there's like spikes where like he sounds genuinely like freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And
well, like I get it. Some people are just like wackos and stuff, and they think the government's tracking them and aliens are coming. But I don't think the government would go that far to kill off most of the population.
Right.
For easier control, because the government can literally control anything, no matter what they do.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of people or not, they're gonna control people. So.
Exactly. Which I've heard some people, I guess the point that he's trying to make is that it's not so much the government that's trying to control it, so much as it is like these like aliens. Yeah.
Okay, that's true.
So, I don't know. I've had some people too. Like when I watched this, like I've heard a lot of people like be like, "Oh, well," because there's like that call came in on September 11th, and somebody tried to say like September 11th, 1997, and then somebody tried to say like, "Oh, well, look at that," and then look at like.
So they're saying 9/11 was like.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly where I'm going with this. They were trying to say like, "Oh, well, like 9/11." It's like, no, okay, come on, like.
So fucking Osama bin Laden's just some dude from like Pluto.
Yeah, fucking Nebulon 6 or some shit. But like I've heard that somebody actually like took this and linked it to COVID. I don't know how the fuck. But like they're like, look at all these natural disasters that happened after the guy called, like the Hurricane Katrina. And it's like, I don't know. So I don't know, but like I do think I do think there's like a semblance of like the guy could have probably worked at Area 51. I think, me personally. Yeah. But the thing is so like obviously, like I said, Art Bell got this call. The line went out, the radio station like went down or whatever, and then a couple months later he got this call, which we'll listen to the clip from. So here's this.
The East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. This is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hello. You didn't disconnect me before, did you?
Were you on earlier tonight?
No, not, towards the end of the last hour, you said, East of the Rockies, you're on the air, and your voice was immediately replaced by the operator saying, your party has not connected.
Oh, well, see, as you can now tell, I don't screen calls. So
Right.
What happened, obviously, was that I answered the phone just at the very instant that you had been ringing as long as they were going to let you ring.
Yeah.
And so that occurs, obviously, sometimes I go to a line and it's dead and nobody's there, and that's what's happened. You know, we're
Right.
on the cusp there. Anyway, I'm glad you made it back through.
Yeah, you got all my paranoia buttons running. I always get very nervous when I call you. I'm Brian. I hung up on you last week.
I see.
And I just figured, damn the torpedoes. I'll just do this and let the chips fall where they will.
All right.
Everybody, I am the Area 51 caller. That's my statement, and let you or whatever tear it apart.
You claim you're the Area 51 caller?
I am the man.
How do you account for the fact, Area 51 caller,
Okay.
that part of the way through your spiel, the satellite went down?
I have no idea, and it scared the heebie-jeebies out of me that night. I've called a number of times on your specialty line nights doing different, kind of wacky characters, and that's all that one was supposed to be. And if the call had been completed, it would have been ancient history by now.
Has it occurred to you, as Barbara Marks Hubbard suggested tonight, that perhaps, if you're really what you say you are, you created the reality of the rest of the situation and took down my satellite?
That scares the heebie-jeebies out of me because it means that what I was saying was somehow correct, and it was fabrication kind of
creating a reality.
Yeah, if that was the case, I humbly apologize to you because I love your show, and the last thing I would ever want to do is
knock
tear
me
you
off the air.
So what can I do to prove my claim here?
Well, I guess you could give us a little of what you gave us then so that we could hear it and know it to be you.
Are you sure you want me to do that, Art?
I'm positive.
Don't, Art, please. I don't want you to ask me to do this. If I start doing that guy,
You're right about that. Now, let's just take that little sample that you just gave us so that we don't alter some sort of hard little reality here at the end of the program, and we'll let the callers be the judge.
Okay.
All right?
I thank you for this opportunity. This has just been driving me bananas for months, and I didn't know what you wanted me to do. I knew it was very difficult for me to prove to you. But I just thank you for your patience in dealing with me up to this time.
All right, it's quite all right. Thank you. Fritz in Phoenix, as a matter of fact, called and said, oh, yes, that's him. Somebody else said, oh, no. Now he has done his little Area 51 caller IMO, or the real thing, depending on what you think. And so we'll leave it up to all of you. That is what you think.
So there it is. So there's him calling back and basically being like, yeah, it wasn't me, or it was me. I was just faking it the whole time. It was all just a very little, prank. So, like, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
And then he said, continue the story, and he started crying, basically.
Yeah, he was, like, saying, like, because he was asking him, he's like, oh, well, how can I show you? Like, how can I convince you that it's me? And then he, like, did part of the little skit to kind of try to show, but, like, I don't think it sounds like him.
I don't know.
That's just, that could be just me. I don't know. I've heard a couple theories from this. I've heard some people say that, like, it is him and that it is, like, that he just created, like, this little thing. I've heard that...
Could just be Art Bell all along.
Yeah, maybe just Art Bell. Maybe Art Bell just fucking made the whole thing. But I've heard some people say that, like, maybe, like, the government hired, like, an actor to, like, stand in for him. Just because, like, I don't know, just, like, that little clip there where he's, like, freaking the fuck... Like, the whole time he's talking, I kind of believed it. I was kind of like, yeah, that does kind of sound like the guy. But then the moment he started freaking out, he just really didn't sound the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think also, like, one of the biggest, like, damning pieces of evidence is, like, the radio station going out.
Yeah.
Especially, like, at that exact moment. Like,
How often does that happen?
Exactly. And, like, Art Bell himself even was like, you know, like, oh, like, that's never happened to us in all our years of fucking being on the air. And, like, that one fucking time that it goes out, like, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, me personally, I would, like, obviously I'm not trying to say that it's, like, a fucking government cover-up, but, like, it's just, the whole thing is just kind of, like, sketch. The whole shindig. But that's the Frantic caller. That generated a lot of buzz around, like, UFO and, like, alien specialists and shit like that. I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you.
There's, like, no evidence that it could possibly be real besides the satellite going up.
I mean, I would say also...
Like, obviously it could be real, but some random caller, like...
Right, because...
Like, there's no evidence that... I don't know. I'm just thinking too much about it, I guess.
No, you're good. I mean, that's part of it, is just, like, talking about it. Because that's why I like shit like that, is because you can, like, sit there and debate all day about it. But, I mean, I feel like... evidence for it, I would say, one, he asked him to elaborate on what happened. He's like, hey, what happened with the radio station? Why'd it go out? And the guy was like, honestly, couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Freak the heebie-jeebies out of him.
Exactly, and I feel like that in itself is, like, kind of suspect. Like, if you can't... I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, if you can't come up with, like, an explanation for it, then, like, that could very easily be someone lying.
Yeah.
Or it could be that, like, the government's like, hey, stop saying shit. Like, or we're going to do this to you, or we're going to pay you this amount of money. And so he's like, now, like, after Art's, like, spitfiring questions at him, he's like, oh, I don't know. I don't really know about that. But also, I feel like if the government was paying him to shut him up, they would have, like, a full set of shit for him to say to be able to, like, spitfire those questions off.
I feel like the government wouldn't pay you.
I feel like they just, like, snipe you.
They would, like... Well, like with the Bob Lazar dude from Area 51, he came out with his story and the government took away his social security card.
Oh, yeah, they, like, discredited the shit out of him.
He was, like, an illegal alien, like, within, like, a couple days. I don't know the exact timeline, but the only way that he could, like, prove he was, like, he had an identity was, like, a local newspaper article, like a clipping of him getting his, like, master's degree or, like, doctorate or something like that.
Yeah, I actually feel like I remember you telling me that now that you say that. Yeah, they, like, they completely, like, discredited the shit out of him. Yeah. So that's a good point. I feel like they wouldn't pay him. So they could have threatened the guy. I mean, honestly.
Could have had his family at gunpoint or something. I don't
know. Yeah. So, I don't know. This is something that, like, I found a long time ago, and I was always, like, really interested in covering it because I, like, genuinely... Like, I don't know. To this day, I don't have, like, an answer. I mean, I kind of want to...
I want to believe it.
Yeah, I
think aliens are real.
Right, exactly.
There's no way that aliens aren't real.
Exactly.
Infinite.
That's, like, the universe is infinite. To think... And, like, the thing is, like, alien, like, especially if, like, you really debate over, like, what the term alien... Because, really, alien just means life on other planets, right?
Yeah, like, obviously, I believe there's a certain type of being, but... There's got to be, like, a plant.
Exactly. Like, that's all you need. Or, like, an amoeba. A goddamn amoeba. Like, on fucking Mars or some shit.
Like, a germ. Like, there's got to be some shit. Like,
right. And, like, they've already confirmed that there was pretty much, like, it's pretty much universally, like, confirmed that, like, there's water on Mars at some point because they have, like, the rivers and shit. Yeah. Like, you have to imagine, like, what kind of shit was living in the water.
Yeah, there's got to be some planet out there that sustains life. So... This dude, he could be right, he could be wrong, I don't know.
Right. I do think it's interesting, though, that, like, in the interview, he says, like, what we think of as aliens are actually, like,
extra-dimensional.
Yeah, interdimensional, extra-dimensional is what he said. I think that's kind of weird concept, kind of cool.
I've never heard of extra-dimensional.
It's, like, basically, I'm trying to think of, like, how to explain it. There's, like, it basically, like, just means, like, it's not, like, they live on different, like, dimensional planes and shit, like between ours. Like I've never heard of that either. I've never heard of somebody claiming that aliens are like extra dimensional and not interstellar. So I think that's weird. I definitely think I don't know. It's so weird to just sit and try and dissect it because of all the shit that he said. Like he doesn't say much, but what he does say is what he does say is kind of interesting to like pull apart and like look at. Yeah, I'm still a firm believer. I think that like maybe not so much that guy is like true, but I mean like he says in the fake video when he comes back and he's like he says something about like making something that's artificial into reality. So by him spouting some stupid story, let's say the government did take the radio show off the air, that means that what he's saying has some some grain of truth to it, which is also kind of interesting to think about if the guy's not actually a worker at Area 51 and rather he's like some fucking, whatever. So I don't know. That's the whole thing. Obviously you all are free to make your own conclusions on it. If you believe in aliens or not, let us know. Shoot it in the comments or send us a fucking email. Send us a fax. Fuck it. Tell me your opinions. I'm always curious to read
Call
people.
my landline.
Yeah, shoot my landline a voicemail about your thoughts on aliens. Do you even have... Who has landlines? Who has fucking home phones anymore, honestly? I feel like everybody's got a fucking cell phone. Like, my fucking grandmother has a goddamn... My great-grandmother has got a fucking cell phone. Actually, no, she called me the other day and she left a fucking voicemail and she was like, "Oh, my home phone." And I was like, Jesus, I haven't heard. But yeah, I think, just shoot comments if you guys want to say something about aliens. Like, obviously, like, I'd be down to read them. I'm always really interested in what people have to say on aliens. I'm just like Nick Lewis, though. I'm like of the mindset, or just like Trey. I'm of the mindset that like, it's ignorant to assume that there's no life. To just like immediately be like, there's like no life. There was somebody, actually, we both know who he is. I won't say his name. I'll edit that out. I'll edit it out. So there are people that we know, who literally believe that like stars are a projection.
What?
They believe that like, obviously
we
not
work with this dude too.
Yeah. Obviously not to get like religious or anything, but like he believes that like, he's like, whoa. Oh my god.
That's gonna fucking spoil it right there.
I'm gonna have to bleep that whole fucking part out. Oh my god, I'll bleep that out. You won't even know a fucking thing. It'll be between us. But anyway, this individual was talking to me and he was like, "Hello." He was like, "Yeah, I believe that the stars are just a projection." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yep, stars aren't real. They're just a projection." And I was like, "What? What the?
What you smoking on?
What the fuck are you on?" So yeah, so I don't know. Like people have like differing opinions about that shit, but I do think that it's ignorant to assume that there's no life out there. Like no matter to what degree. Like obviously, I believe there's motherfuckers like flying around in spaceships and shit.
Like
but,
I want to believe that.
Yeah. Hey, it's on my water bottle, baby. I want to believe. X-Files. Anyway, I don't know if that actually originates with X-Files. I think it's just like no clue. Anyway, but yeah, so interesting stuff. That's Art Bell. Some last little closing things about him. It's really weird. I read somewhere that like a bunch of the people that he interviewed about conspiracy theories and shit end up going missing.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know if that's fucking... Because I was, like, trying to look into it. I was trying to look at, like, specific people that he interviewed and see, like, oh, so-and-so disappearance, ? And, like, nothing. Like, nothing would pop up. So I don't know if that was something that was just kind of thrown in as, like...
They also talked about, like, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional beings or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or, like, just, like, anything. Like, sometimes they would talk about government cover-ups. Sometimes they talk about, the CIA.
Probably would have to do with the government if they went missing.
Yeah. I know a few people that have come on the show, though, have been abducted. Like, they talk about being abducted.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe the aliens were, like, listening. Put a hit out for him. Who knows? Is that what you think aliens sound like?
Fucking knows.
They sound like fucking Animal Crossing characters. Anyway, so yeah, let's see, what was I gonna say about Art Bell? Something crazy happened with him. Oh, people like started like breaking into his house and shit, and like he thought it was like the government coming for him, so he started like screening calls, and like he retired from he had like a weird on and off radio career, but at one point he was like doing radio in the Philippines and shit. Had to screen calls, but unfortunately, for those of you who don't know, Art Bell did pass away in like 2018, I think. It was recently. He passed away of an overdose, like an accidental overdose, which
happens to the best of us, man.
Hey, some people think it was the some people think it was the government. I think somebody was like the government did it to shit, because like he had like heart problems and shit. Like he has some like weird medical conditions, and like they found like oxycodone.
Sure.
In his system. They found like 3 or 4 different medications, and like obviously like whenever you have a lot of health conditions you have to take those medicine, but like I feel like that's something that you would like know the amount to take. So I don't know, some people have said that it's a cover-up. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that. I'm saying the government killed him. No, but that's
confirmed.
Debunked. Void frequency canceled. All of a sudden something's going to come out, like the government's going to leak something that I said like when I was 10.
Gonna break down our doors.
It's going to be like, oh, Dawson Richard in 2009 said this, and it's going to be like some...
Frantic Lewis tweeted this.
Looking at his Twitter, you can easily decipher. But, yeah, so that's really all I have on Art Bell. He passed away. I thought he was a cool guy. I think he had like an interesting life. He like did a bunch of radio shit. He was in Vietnam. It's cool stuff, but the Frantic Caller is definitely like the oh, Jesus, my fucking chair is falling apart on me. I definitely think that like the Frantic Caller is one of the coolest things that happened with Art Bell. But anyway, so that'll about do it for our episode, I think.
Sorry for ranting on for so long.
No, you're good. I thought it was funny. We had a goop talk. We talked about Bob Lazar. We're not even to that episode yet. We started talking about Bob Lazar.
We need to do that one.
We do need to do that one. You could chime in on that one. I know you know a shit ton about it. I think, do you remember Lytle?
Yeah.
That guy's like, knows a shit ton about Bob Lazar. We'd have to get him on, guest star. Do a little 3-way conversation.
Like FaceTime or something.
Yeah, put him on Zoom.
Skype,
if you will. But yeah, that's our episode for the day. I don't think I really have anything else. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Thanks for listening, tuning in, all that stuff. Tell me how you feel about Nicoloulis. Yeah. My new co-host, he's on here now. I'll probably still do some individual episodes, but definitely expect to hear a lot more of him. So yeah, that'll about do it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay safe, and above all, don't go saying anything that you wouldn't want the government to hear, because they will cancel you. They will take you out. So stay weird, everybody.
Until our next terrifying tale, dear listener, this has been The Void Frequency.
Matt Newman!